Hello, welcome to another episode of the Pianoforte Podcast. I'm your co-host Felicia, and here's my co-host Audrey. Hi, Audrey.
Hello. I feel like I always say hello instead of hello.
And I feel sometimes I
Hello.
copy that from you.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
Hello.
I should kick that habit out of the window.
The thing is, I say hello. It's like because of like British. Hello. Sometimes when they say hello, it's not hello. It's like hello.
Like they swallow the H in a way.
Yeah.
Interesting. I need to pay more attention to that. Interesting, yeah. Okay, so for today's episode, we are going to be talking about something that's slightly
Technical.
slightly technical.
Slightly
So-
serious. It's not gonna be too. I don't think it would be too chaotic.
But I think we'll also have a hard time staying on one topic.
Yeah, it would be kind of a confusing. It's
It'll
not
be a
confusing as in
We'll
I
be
think
sliding around.
we'll be just like talking about our. It's not just concerns, right? Okay, here's the thing. We plan to talk about teaching theory,
Music theory,
music
yes.
theory, yes, and it's a common concern for many teachers, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we're just gonna talk about that, the concerns, how to start, and what to do next, and whatnot, and at what point is it too much, at what point is it too little.
Yeah, I think that is the thing. Like
there's-
the amount of information is pretty hard to
And
control.
also, here's the thing, right? There's no absolute right thing about how and you you should still. I think it's always good to teach your student music theory
Mm-hmm.
to the barest minimum, but it shouldn't be like there's no right or wrong.
There is no like one method, singular method
Yeah.
to approach
I
this
guess that's
topic.
with like general teaching. There's we are not supposed to be like just sticking to one thing.
Mm-hmm.
One thing might work well for a student, might not work well for another. So
yeah.
just that disclosure in mind. We're not trying to force anybody to use our techniques or whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to just start off by saying also like in Singapore and I
Mm-hmm.
think maybe Indonesia also because you guys follow ABRSM. Like
Not the whole lot Indonesia, but I think a lot.
a lot. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, I'll just speak for Singapore. Anyway, we follow the ABRSM syllabus, and that also includes not just instruments but also for theory.
Yes, ABRSM. For those who are just like
What is
jumping
this?
in the podcast, it's an associated board of Royal School of Music, which is a music school system.
Yeah. So they
From
have like
base-
a grading system
Yeah, it's a
from
grading
like
system.
beginner all the way up to like grade 8, which is by which time you should be more or less able to audition into a conservatory. I think is how it might
Yeah.
work.
So grade 8 usually is already like intermediate advanced kind of that level. It's not super advanced yet, but it's also not intermediate. So it's like the switching point. That's why, as Felicia said, it should be the point that like you should be good enough to try for a conservatory or something like that. And it's based in London, UK, somewhere in
UK.
the UK.
Yeah, someone in the UK.
Yeah, and usually a lot of countries use also this license. Like
We follow the same syllabus.
yeah. And it's like acknowledged throughout the world, although it's not that much in Germany. Which also for those who are just jumping in this episode, wow, hi, welcome. I'm in Germany, and Felicia is in Singapore.
Singapore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but
So, mm-hmm.
I feel like the ABRSM probably isn't used as much like across mainland Europe, outside of Germany as well. I don't think it's used that much either. Is it?
I've never. I don't think so. I've never really talked to other people
Yeah,
outside
I
of
haven't.
Germany.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's very unfortunate.
Yeah. So,
But I think that's also like ABRSM is also not so much of a thing in Japan probably because Yamaha is probably more
yeah, I
a
mean,
Japanese thing.
primarily the countries where ABRSM exists are like colonies of the UK plus
Yes.
some other countries
Yeah.
plus
Yeah,
others.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because also Australia and therefore probably also Canada.
Probably, but I think they also have alternative systems.
I definitely. I mean, alternative systems. There's definitely some in Indonesia as well.
Mm. Like
But
what
yeah.
what are the names of those?
I know like Purwacaraka, which is like a school music school. I think it's kind of a franchise as well in Indonesia.
Mm-hmm.
They also have like their own like internal grading system and whatnot. The ones that are like international, unfortunately, I don't really know.
Mm.
There's also Yamaha classes in Indonesia, and yeah, I do think that people take exams for it as well. Like
Yeah.
they have grading systems and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the two like kind of local-ish, the ones that I know, but it's not like
Yeah.
the thing is
Cool.
mostly people around my like circle in Indonesia, even though they were not from the same music school as I was, they also use ABRSM. So
Okay.
only those two that I kind of know. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, we also have Yamaha over here, and they have their own system.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah.
But I think people here use the Yamaha system more for like electone.
Right. Correct. Yes.
Like for
I
other
agree with
instruments,
that.
we still use like ABRSM or Trinity. Primarily these two.
Yeah. I actually have never heard of Trinity before.
Really?
I talked to you. India. No.
Oh. Yeah.
Is it also a UK based system?
Yes.
Ah.
It's also UK
I
based.
have seen ARSM.
ARSM is part of ABRSM. I believe
Is it part
it's
of the ABRSM?
it's the
Yeah, that's
diploma, the first level of diploma, but
that's
without the
what
Viva Voce, I think.
that's what I was like, kind of like assuming. I did not completely know, but I assumed so. Like probably they're the same. Like
Yeah, the
the
name is a bit too similar, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, back to the topic about like music theory. So anyway, for us, we basically start music theory from a young age. Also like alongside instrument lessons, especially if we learn the piano.
Mm-hmm.
So most piano teachers here would teach piano and theory at the same time.
Yes.
Other instruments, it depends on the teachers. That's primarily how I hear about it.
Actually, that's true. That's true.
Right?
It's funny, right? Because I also had a discussion just last night with another friend that is more like she had like quite a serious vocal lessons, and she also said like learning theory or whatnot or like ear training Gehörbildung
Mm.
is so much easier when you understand the piano. So I did not think of that, what you pointed out, that like theory lessons are more associated with piano lessons until now. I think for the majority of the other instruments, they might learn theory, especially if they take also like that instruments in ABRSM.
Mm-hmm.
Because at some point you do need to hand in
Yes.
also a theory certificate of ABRSM. If you're in the higher level, you need to
Mm-hmm.
hand in like at least an intermediate, a grade 5
Yeah.
theory. So for what I feel like the other instruments might just learn theory for what they need. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
So, like,
Can you elaborate though?
So like, of course, like a flute player, a flautist, they need to know about the breathing and the teka, which is a thing also in like theory grade 5, I think, or grade 4. Some techniques.
Oh, like
But
the naming of techniques.
Yeah, the breathing techniques, we had to give markings, right, for the breathing sometimes.
Like, you mean like the apostrophe, the comma, or
Yeah,
like,
apostrophe as well, or like the T. Anyway.
no, I never had to do
or
a
like
tika
bowing,
thing.
or just another example. It's
Recognizing
like a
bowing, like up bow, down
Yeah,
bows, yeah.
it's a thing. We as a pianist also need to learn that, but later on, like in grade 5. But
Yeah.
for like an actual violinist or violist or cellist or a contrabassist, they need that from the top first lesson. They need to know this is the down bow, this is the up bow.
Yeah.
Right?
Like techniques for the instruments, right?
So I think like theory really depends on how you see it. The basic, I think piano is really good to learn like the basic stuff. Like the, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like keys and intervals, because again, it's very visually, piano is easier to learn than like string instruments. I would say so.
Yeah, I think so too.
Also with like wind instruments, because heck, clarinet, like the first like C, and it's also a transposing instrument for for God's sake. So like the first position of C is like you close all the holes with all the finger, and no, C, I even make it wrong. You close all the holes with the left hand only. The right hand is open. That's the first position of C. And the next position of C is like you close all holes, you open the octave button, and you like your right hand pinky it has like 4 buttons, and you have to choose which ones. So like for other instrumentalists, it's not as easy to map where's my notes, like to learn the theory. But like with piano, you can directly see this is a C, that is the next C, that looks the same.
Yeah.
So I think that's why piano goes more hand in hand with theory lessons. But
it's true.
Back to your point. So that is that.
Well, one thing I just wanted to just kind of maybe just chat about with you. So like how we usually chat.
Yes, okay, right.
How we usually chat outside the podcast. Except that we are just
how do we
recording this.
usually chat? I am the more talkative ones, just in case everybody not
Generally
aware of
speaking,
that.
yeah. Yeah, but I was just curious, like, what are the areas you would consider under music theory? What are the areas music theory covers? Like, if you had to break them down into smaller structures.
So I always think there's basically two. First, there's 2 branches. I automatically think like rhythmic and harmonic. That's the basic thing. Because you can play music with only knowing these 2 things.
True. Yes.
Without knowing articulations, without knowing dynamics, without knowing anything, you can already make music if you know rhythm and if you know some sort of harmony. So those are the 2 like Hauptpunkte, main points. Yeah. So that is for me like I think also because especially now that I don't teach with a set system, like you use APRSM also for teaching, right?
Yes.
I don't. And my lessons are usually very short, like 30 minutes. Like I cannot always cover both practical and theory. So I try to use that like first to like they have to know the basic rhythm and harmony.
Yeah.
So those are my 2 first important ones. And rhythm eventually also comes into phrasing and articulations that comes into rhythm, I would say. Because it's not really in the... Yeah, I mean, At least I would think so. And then like intervals and whatnot and keys and whatnot are in
Mm-hmm.
the and scales are
The
in the
harmonic
harmony
side.
side.
Yeah.
Right. So I think this is also what my ex piano teacher, not my.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm still in close contact with him. I think this is also what he pointed out when I started playing jazz. Jazz is also it's kind of a language, right? Its genre is a language. And he also pointed that out, like, to understand a new genre, you need to understand the harmony and the rhythm of that. It's like when you want to explore a new language, a new accent in music, you need those two elements first
Right.
before everything else.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, that's kind of odd because I keep referring back to how you play, but also that's how I see it, because like people, not only children, I think people can relate more to theory if they know how to implement it.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, like again, like for a violinist, up bow down bow, for them makes so much sense. But for us, for pianists, if we learn that from grade 1, even though it's like grade 0 for a violinist, we wouldn't, like, why should we learn this?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. No, but I think what caught my attention about what you said was that you group like articulation under rhythm.
Would you categorize articulation under harmony?
I would create a third category of terms.
All right. Yeah.
Terminology. No, but
okay, terminology
but
the thing is about terminology is like it's a whole other aspect. The terms is like the names, right? You can play a staccato without knowing the name.
yes, but that is kind of. But when we're talking about theory, you kind of need to put a name to everything.
Yeah,
because it's a means of communication as well.
Yeah, the communication part. Yes.
But I can see that, when you're talking about like coming from more from a playing side, that articulation has more to do with rhythm.
Yeah.
Because there are certain things, right? Like when you teach staccato to a young kid, you're like, oh, it's a short note. You have to lift your hands up fast. And then when you have like 4 crotchets or like 4 quarters
Quarter
with
notes,
staccato,
yes.
they just play them super fast. Like da 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 da.
Oh yeah,
That kind of thing. That you have
but that's
that
also
well.
understanding of rhythmic, right? So
yes.
the
So
value is still the same. It's just that you need
you
to
hold the
like,
note shorter.
breathe in. Like you gotta breathe,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So that's what that kind of reminded me about.
Right. So the term, definitely at some point you need to introduce a term. I don't usually introduce a term until the kid or the person needs to play that.
Yeah, likewise. I think it's
Yeah.
the most natural way of learning for them.
Yeah, I mean, us as when we were babies as well, no? So
Yeah.
we don't actually directly know.
No, I mean everything we know we learned.
We have
So-
to experience it first to give it a name. I think.
Yeah.
That's the.
Yeah.
Because if it's just an abstract idea, I mean, for adults, maybe some abstract ideas could just be a thing.
Mhm.
Like for example, when we do like grade 5 theory,
Mhm.
we didn't necessarily have to play violins or viola or any string instruments, but we need to learn about up bow and
Up bow,
down
down
bow.
bow.
I keep struggling with that.
That's fine. But I think there are also some other things like wind instruments having to learn certain features of like what instruments
yeah.
are single reed, which ones are double reeds.
Yes. Yeah. The
it's so
anatomy of
confusing.
your instruments, basically.
But the thing is this, like it just came to a point where I just learned them and I just couldn't understand what the reeds meant and how they were used. Because unlike you, I didn't play a wind instrument.
Right, you don't. Wow.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Shocking. Yeah, true.
You knew this already. What do you mean shocking?
I forgot about that. I
No,
was just
but
like, Felicia also plays a bunch of instruments.
No. Not that much, but different choices from you. I had different choices from you.
Yeah.
But I think the first time I understood like reeds and how it worked was when I got a Venova. It's an instrument that starts with V that I forgot about in my last episode.
Oh.
Do you know
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Venovas?
The last episode
That
we.
they are an instrument by Yamaha,
Mm.
and the idea behind this instrument is that they wanted to make a affordable instrument that sounded something like a saxophone, but that used similar fingerings with the recorder,
The
which
thing
means
about
that will be a lot
saxophones
easier to.
itself. The thing about saxophone itself. The
Yeah.
fingerings. The fingering is so much closer to a recorder anyway.
Okay, then I guess the main point would have been. Yeah, I'm not so sure because the Venova was actually really. It was simpler. I can't remember whether they had buttons to press down or whether it was just a hole.
I think they have
But
like
it was made of plastic.
they definitely have holes. They also probably have like a
Let me look
hooked
this up.
button. So if you press a certain button, they would it's connected to another hook that will press actually the actual hole somewhere. So like you could
Yeah.
press something with the side of your left hand second finger, pointer finger,
Index finger.
index finger, with the side of your index finger, and actually it would like trigger another like because it is connected to a hook or something, it would trigger another button or another hole to be closed or
Yeah.
to be opened. You know, like there's a lot of those kind of like.
Okay, so I'll just show you really quickly a picture of the Venova. They are all very white. But
Oh,
let's see if I can.
I think I've seen. I think I've seen.
It's like this.
Yeah. I've seen
Yes,
those.
you have,
I've seen
right?
those.
Yeah, so there's some that is just like
there are some
holes
buttons
to cover and
holes
some little buttons.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like in between. Because saxophones all have holes. No, all have buttons. Sorry.
Buttons, yeah.
Saxophones all have buttons. So it's in between
Recorder is all
clarinet
holes.
and saxophone.
Ah,
Clarinet have holes. Some
right.
parts.
See, I
Most
didn't
of the
know
parts. The three middle fingers, like
that. Okay.
index, middle, and ring fingers for both hands are usually holes. Are actually holes.
Yeah. But because this Venova is created to be single reed, that when I
Clarinet
was
is
learning
also
how,
single reed.
I know, but
As
this is the
well
instrument
as
I actually
saxophone.
played. Yeah, but this is the instrument I actually played.
Yeah, but you said you just noticed about reed, like you just grasped the idea of reed when you started playing that, right?
Yes.
Actually, kind of the same though.
For you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that I have always known what a reed is. Like a reed is a like wooden plank. Also, for those who don't know what reeds are, now it's your explanation. It's usually a wooden or like bamboo-ish plank that is carved in a certain thickness. It has different sizes and whatnot, and usually it is the when you blow to you put that plank into your mouthpiece, so like to your mouthpiece. What is a thing
Yeah, the
that
mouthpiece.
you
It is
yeah,
the mouthpiece,
a
right?
thing that you blow from, and
the
the
mouthpiece.
and the reed will like vibrate to create the actual sound of your instrument. So unlike the flute basically rely so much on the body of the flute and the wind that you blow. But like a clarinet, it will not make any sound if you don't put a reed on it. So you can practice your fingerings as much as you like without having the reeds. If you just try to memorize the fingerings without annoying the neighbors. But yeah, the coherentness between blowing and fingers is also a thing that you need to practice. So I do not recommend only practicing the fingers. But yeah, when you put the reed in your mouthpiece, you blow, the reed will vibrate, and that creates a sound. Actually, you can also just play the reed on its own and the mouthpiece without the body. It will make some sound. Wouldn't
What
be
kind of
too.
sound does it make?
Oh, a squealing duck. It's like
That sounds really fun.
yeah, but that is actually also how for beginners, at least when I started learning, cause cause when I started learning clarinet, I already know piano, so already know pitches and notes and whatnot, and so on and so forth. So like my brain is so preoccupied by directly playing the music instead of honing how to blow the instruments.
Like that tone?
Yeah. How to create a tone or how to blow it. And I failed many times in the beginning. Like I sometimes still do if I need to play a certain note and it just squeals. But yeah, that's another technique. Anyway, back to theory. Why do we go there?
Instruments, single reeds, having to know about the
Yeah.
different instruments and techniques.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'll
guess the
check.
sorry.
No, you can go first.
I think like the other way of learning, like to teach theory, like to teach other instruments to people who only play piano, is basically to show a video or a picture of that instrument. Because as you said, you might not know what a reed is, but once you see it, it'll be like, okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Yeah. Especially for
Yeah.
adults, teenagers and adults. I didn't know what oboe reeds looks like, a double reed, until I actually see one. Just the reed itself. I was just like, no, it kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I had an image of how the reeds in the oboe look like, but I can't remember where I got the image from. Maybe I read it in a book somewhere.
Probably. Or a video. Basically, another place that I learned a lot about like physiology of an instrument. Anatomy of an instrument. Sorry, not physiology. Jesus Christ. By visiting music shops.
Oh.
Yeah. I remember when I just started playing the clarinet and whatnot, I need to buy reeds, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. And whatnot. And we went to the music shop in Jakarta, and that was also the first time that I kind of saw like in close like distance what a trumpet or like what a French horn looked like. Horn, by
Oh.
the way. Yeah, I know I keep saying French horn. It should
But
just be horn.
same thing. Horn and F.
Horn and F, right? Or like what a trombones looks like. How the difference between alto saxophone and like tenor saxophones. Although I've seen saxophones more than the horns, like than the brass instruments. Yeah, but the bassoon, I've never seen a bassoon before that. But that was my first encounter. I noticed. I remember vividly, just like looking at the instruments, be like, wow, that costs a lot of money as well.
Yeah. Actually, now that you mention it, I did get a chance to see quite a few of the brass instruments, especially from Yamaha. Because Yamaha, they also sell quite a few of these orchestral instruments.
I think Yamaha has at least one of every single instrument.
I think so. Yeah, and then because I used to go for electron classes,
Sure, yeah,
so
right.
I had a lot of chance to kind of get to see because they were all very shiny,
They are.
and I'm very attracted to shiny
Shiny.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But back
but
to
the price tags.
theory.
Yeah.
Back to the theory part again. Yeah, I guess theory is always like when you have to implement something, you learn the name for it, sure, and that makes the most sense, at least for me.
Yeah.
Somebody who teach without a system. So I know for sure I skip, or maybe I did not have. I haven't taught like my students some that what you would have already thought, because it's required by the system, but I'm like, you know what? And also my students are usually just hobby people. Like they're not gonna take exams or whatnot. They might, some of them might, but yeah. If they do, then I will cover those stuff. But I always see like, how much does this person need to know about theory? How much terminology can I shove it
Stuff
into
them
their
with.
yeah.
Yeah, but there's actually one other aspect of music theory that I think we haven't touched on yet that I'm actually...
Yes.
Well, I mean, okay, I guess in a way it's like there's not much of a need to touch on this, but for younger kids, especially drawing of notes. Because when we play the instrument, we learn to identify the notes, right? But
Yes.
drawing the notes is quite a different thing.
Drawing
And I think it's more important for it. Clefs, yes. Always a fun one, the treble clef.
the treble clef.
The treble clef, yeah.
Yeah.
But also with all the notes, like I had to tell my students that you have to draw the note a little bit smaller. Draw a slightly smaller circle.
Oh,
Don't draw an oval.
usually
Like it goes like this way.
Usually I try to have like a big giant note block, like the okay. You put notes in 5-line system, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a 5 horizontal lines. For those who never read a piano, like a music sheet, it's 5 horizontal lines, and you put
Yes.
a note head, which is a circle, an oval, basically.
A little oval, yeah.
Either like on in between each line, but the oval should touch both the lines, or like on top of one line, which means this line is in the middle of the oval and the oval is not touching any other lines.
Yeah.
So I usually, for smaller children, I print out a huge like 5-line system. It's not that huge, actually. It's not that immaculately huge, and it helps them to at least first navigate, because motoric coherence of younger students, they don't have the precision as an adult has,
Yeah.
right? So it's easier for them if they have a bigger platform to understand, oh, that's how you make the note. Or like sometimes in my classroom, I also have like a blackboard, whiteboard, something, a board that I can write on. Yes. And that is also fun because they feel like, yay, I'm drawing on the whiteboard.
Oh, yeah. So it's like... Yeah.
It's also a fun activity, I guess, right? So they feel it's more like engaging, and
there's more movement as well
Yes.
involved.
Yeah, and for kids, that's definitely a better idea, that you kind of like force feed some music, but in a more fun way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my trick. I don't know if you would take that or not, but
I will definitely see if I can incorporate that, because again, like I think we haven't mentioned this yet, but I use theory books. So most of the theory that I teach follow an established system.
yeah, but just to practice on the side, you can just print out a 5-line system, like a notation block. Or like, even though they understand the concept, just to practice the writing.
Extra practice, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that for me it helps. It helps so much, as well as like even for some of my students, some of my younger students, they already learn intervals, just because. Right, because
I mean,
they
it's
keep
important
saying,
to know the...
yeah, it is quite important, but for some students it's not that necessary until a certain point. But like this is like she has taken she started even less than a year ago, and she already knows intervals. Like for that, like less than a year, interval is quite already like a step. But that comes because she keeps saying like, oh, this is like a 3 notes apart and whatnot. she already actually acknowledged the interval without me teaching the interval.
Yeah.
She already saw that, and I was like, okay, now we will say that is an interval that has a name. So you can say like 3 notes apart. It's a terz. No.
Mm-hmm. Three
Te-
notes
3
apart
notes
is a fifth.
apart is a fifth. Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it says you count 1, and then 1, 2, 3, and then the top.
Yeah.
So it's 5 in total.
Yeah.
And they notice, and like, that kind of thing. And I also give her some like written exercises, interval exercises then.
Mm-hmm.
But I noticed when I printed that out, I just noticed it's too small. She was having a hard time. And I was like, okay, you know what? Let me copy that like bigger for you. And it's so much better and so much more fun, because then she can like, she can do colors as well if she wants to.
Yeah.
Right? So that is another thing that I like. Like, if you notice somebody is struggling, maybe copying the file in a 200% in an A3 instead of an A4 would help.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's definitely fun, yeah. Intervals, that is actually one topic I'm starting to go through with some students, not all
Yeah.
of them.
Do you teach
But-
interval first or key first? Sorry, I just cut you off, but you can continue your point
in-
first.
Intervals we usually cover in playing. So
right.
at least up to like, second, third, fourth, fifth, because it's in the book as well.
Ah.
And so it's
Yeah.
structured enough
Yeah.
in the playing book. So it's structured enough that it's easy to be like, okay, this is the second, this is how it sounds like, this is how it looks like, and then you go into the third, fourth, and fifth. So by then they maybe they don't really know the word interval, but they have a sense of like, this is a second, a third, fourth, fifth.
Yes.
And then key signatures always after that.
Yes.
Quite a bit, but-
Definitely always.
They will have recognized accidentals around the same time as well.
I would definitely introduce accidentals
Accidentals first,
before
yeah.
key.
Yes, it gets very confusing otherwise.
Yeah. They have to know what that sign means, the accidentals, the sharp and the flats, right? And then when you be like, okay, you know what? I would give like 2 very easy song, like that ends with a C major, maybe. That's in C major, and the one that is ending with G major but has a C major before that.
Okay.
So it's what is it? What's the term? Or an F major, right? Because the C major is a dominant, which is more common,
Okay, yeah.
right? So a song in C major and a song in F that has a C major right before the end. So I would compare it after that. Like, I would play the song and then ends with C, the one in C major, and it will sound like it's finished. And
Yeah.
then I would play the song in F major and ends with the C. It ends with the same chord, but it doesn't sound like it's ending because it's not the home key. It's not, you're not going home yet. You're still
Oh, yeah.
in the front yard.
Outside.
You're still in the front yard. You're still taking your shoes off, and now you go home. Right? So they
Yeah.
know like the difference directly between chords and keys, which is
Based on the
now
sound,
is
right?
Not from the sounding. Yeah, from the sound.
Yeah.
Never only theory. I would never only do theory. I think that's why I hated theory so much back then. Because whenever I learned theory, I had to like, what? Like create another thing that's like I didn't see
Like, it's
much
very
of the
divorced.
coherence.
Yeah, it's very divorced from like the playing part.
Yeah. I mean, sure,
Yeah,
at some point I did like kind of like be fine with it. But I do remember some parts, some huge parts whenever I learned theory, I'm just like, what is this? What are you talking about? What?
This is very interesting. So I have another question for you, which involves key signatures, the learning of key signatures.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
That's a tough one because the thing is, there is a very strict formula to follow.
Yeah.
For major keys, minor keys, melodic, harmonic, minor.
Yes.
very, very strict formula to follow, but I definitely think it's more useful that students kind of get a sense of how it sounds,
Yeah.
which, I mean, yeah, that kind of
Before
thing.
how
So
it
like
looks.
yeah, or before they approach the formula part of it. But how would you approach that?
Same. I would try to integrate that in songs, basically, always.
Mm-hmm.
Like, now that we have a song in C and a song in F, I would also try to choose songs that is like, first of all, I would like, maybe like write all the B flat down. F has a
Mm-hmm.
has a B flat. For those who doesn't know, I guess y'all should know. You're listening to music podcast. You're in this for a reason. But yeah, I would write out every single B flat, and then I would print out the same song, but with a key signature in front.
Mm.
So be like, you notice like this one song has like so many flats. It's annoying. We put only one in front, and it helps to make everything now with a flat on that note.
Mm-hmm.
That is one example that worked. Another example is just like, for a more older students, it's just to just directly give it
Mm-hmm.
and just explain the basic rule, direct rule, because like for adults, right, they can
They're
grasp,
able to build the mental model much more
yeah,
quickly
the
than
the
younger
connection.
kids.
They can connect two dots easier than children can.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I noticed. Some children can also directly connect two dots. They don't
Depends,
need,
right? It
yeah,
really depends.
it really depends. Yeah. And yeah, but that's basically how I roll. I kind of try to like, at least that's also how I've seen some piano method books actually.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they start to introduce other key signature than C major. Yeah. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's that. I guess that is I talk a lot in this episode, no? I feel like I talk a lot.
Like in our conversations.
Yeah. So welcome. This is a true unfiltered conversation. Audrey just talks a lot. I talk a lot.
And I listen.
Yeah. No, but how would you introduce your key signatures? Because key signature is a tough one. And it's much harder than intervals and whatnot.
I mean, key signatures, the playing part is pretty obvious. Like explaining the key signature part. Like if you give a piece in G major, F major, it's
For us, it's
actually
obvious.
what. Yeah, I know, but for the kids, sometimes what I get them to do first is like if it's a piece in G major, I'll have them take a yellow color pencil and find all of the F and color that in.
Good. Yes.
So it's something for them to see because otherwise they naturally just miss out all the Fs.
True,
F
true,
sharps.
true. Yeah.
Right? It becomes a G mixolydian piece instead.
Oh, yeah, that's the
Yeah, but-
transition part. That's a transition part, I guess, right? Before, from just like basically plainly using all the, what is it called again? Accidentals.
Mm-hmm.
Transitioning to the key signature. Be like, okay, you can still give some sign that it is black.
Yeah.
A black key.
Yeah. Because they need a while to get used to the idea of that anyway, before they get used to the sound also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, but in terms of theory, in terms of writing and being able to look at like tree sharps and being able to identify what that is, it's the part that takes a while longer.
That takes a whole lot longer because then you have to introduce the circle of fifth.
No, but I have a little shortcut for sharps.
Oh.
You just take the last
GDA?
sharp and you go up.
Oh, yeah,
No,
yeah,
you
yeah.
take the last sharp and you just go up half step. That's the major key.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
It works for everyone. Then for the black key,
For
you
the
just
black
need to
key is
remember
the previous
F major.
B, the previous
Yeah.
flat.
So you only really need to remember C major and F major.
Yeah.
And then to remember to put all the flats in front of like B flat, E flat. A
Yes,
flat.
yes.
Yeah, that's the main thing. So, but the thing is, because the theory book, they split everything up into like, I think grade 1 is like C, G, D, A major. Then
So
grade 2, it kind of
the
advances a
sharp
few more.
keys.
The sharp keys and the single flat.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it just kind of goes on after that. I think in grade 2, they start introducing minor keys as well.
So for
So
me,
that's where
mm-hmm.
yeah. No, I was just going to say that's why I introduced a relative minor. So it's
Okay.
easier than memorizing everything.
I think for me at least, I introduce my student. I try to like 1 sharp, 1 flat, 2 sharp, 2 flats, 3 sharp, 3 flats. I know it's kind of a bit of a different process, but I think it's better because sometimes I noticed if some students of mine, they prefer to read pieces with sharps than pieces with flats, even though it has only like 1 flat or 2 flats in comparison to like 4 sharps. They would prefer the one with sharps, and I'm just like, why? It should be the same. So that's why I try to even out with the students that I can still influence.
Yeah, but I think in terms of teaching skills, there's one kid in particular, he has very good ears. So I like in terms of just playing the scale itself, I taught him C major, D major, E major, G major, A major.
Okay.
Basically the ones with the same finger numbers.
The sharps is much easier to play for skills though. I would agree on that.
Yeah, because the finger number is more fixed in a way, but the others there's also a pattern, but it takes a while to get to explain the pattern.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agree.
Like, I don't know, like have you had students who when they look at a B flat and E flat major scale, they insist on playing the first note with the thumb?
No. Yes. Right hand, you mean?
Yes,
Yeah,
on the right hand.
I have.
They're just like, the thumb goes first. Doesn't matter what note it is.
Yeah. And then I need to say like the thumb doesn't go on the black keys.
It doesn't go on the black key, yeah.
Yes.
The only time it goes on the black key is like the F sharp major arpeggio.
Yeah.
Right, I think that's the only instance.
Or E flat minor arpeggio.
Oh yeah, E flat minor.
It's all
yeah.
black. It's all black.
Yes.
When you have no excuse. All right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Anyway.
I think I need to cut off our conversation. Time. I don't want to make this
Yeah.
episode 2 hours long, even though we could
No.
if y'all want.
Nah.
But preferably not.
Preferably not.
Probably a lot of people who are not very used to this topic would be like very confused listening to this because they have
And we
no
jump
framework.
around quite a lot.
Yeah. No, actually, that was not very jumpy. I think it was quite a good.
Yeah, I mean, but we kind of like went out, then we come back, go out, come back.
Yeah. True.
A little bit.
It's just me.
No, I think it's just us and the way we handle conversations.
Yes. Just like, hey. This also goes with that topic. Let's go back to the main topic.
You know what I've been thinking? If your middle name is Chaos, I think mine would be Random.
Random chaos, I know. Yes.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about this.
Offline.
Off air,
Off air.
not on air.
Yeah, online but off air. Yes.
Yes. All right. So song
So
recommendations.
moving on. What?
Song
Oh
recommendations.
yeah, song recommendations.
No?
Yes.
You
I
can
misheard.
start first.
Okay, so over here I have a song that I actually just sent you yesterday to listen to.
Oh yeah, I know that one then. I'm quite intrigued. It's quite unique.
It's called 最鬼阿 Q.
Yeah, I cannot pronounce that.
It's I don't really know how to translate 最鬼. 最鬼 is I guess like someone who. Let me Google this
It sounds
afterwards.
like
I roughly know,
food
but
for some weird reason. Because in Indonesian, fried
Kueh is
dough.
ghost. But sorry, you're saying Indonesian?
What is the song title again? The Cai Kueh? The two
最
first.
鬼阿 Q. 最鬼.
Cai Kueh. Okay. So in Indonesia, there's a fried dough. I think you know that the long dough and they're fried.
油条?
Yeah, youtiao. But we call it takoy.
Oh, say that again.
Takoy.
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 炸粿.
Without a particular betonung, actually. 炸粿.
炸粿.
Yeah, good. That's hot.
Okay.
Yes. Don't put betonung. Whatever that betonung is. What is a betonung in English? Accent?
Accent, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. That's
Okay, so
that
but in Chinese, like 醉鬼 means drunkard.
drunkard.
Yeah.
All right.
So 醉 is drunk and 鬼 is technically a ghost.
Drunk ghost. And what is the akyo?
That's actually the thing I haven't figured out.
Bro.
I was just listening to the song. I was like, oh, this is nice.
Explain about the song
Oh.
then, if you cannot explain about the title.
Yeah, no. RQ is... Okay, so there is a novel there's a Mandarin novel. The title is called RQ 正传. 正传. Yeah.
We're
And
struggling in multilingual.
RQ is... Yes, I am. And RQ is a main character in this novel, so it's basically like drunkard RQ. Never read the novel, so I do not really know what this character is about. But this song is performed by Qing Feng and Stephanie Sun. So Qing Feng I've actually mentioned before because one of the previous episodes I recommended a song called Storm.
Mm-hmm.
There was a collaboration between Qing Feng and Aurora.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this is another collaboration by Qing Feng and Stephanie Sun, who is she's a Singaporean singer,
Okay.
but she developed most of her career in Taiwan, I think.
That's, yeah. Okay.
Mandopop industry is
That sounds reasonable.
Mm.
All right.
very nice piece.
Song, and it's kind of like a electronic techno EDM.
It goes into the EDM, but it doesn't really start straight from EDM.
No, it doesn't start.
Right,
It's
so
kind
there
of in
was
the
like this
middle that you
really-
notice, like, this is kind of EDM-ish or like techno-ish.
Yeah, and like the MV also. The MV was very, very colorful.
It's very... The visual is very, like, color pop, kind of like...
Yeah.
Yeah, just like
Like contrast of colours, bright
Yeah,
colours.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's very bright colored. Felicia sent me, as we mentioned earlier. Felicia already sent me. See, sometimes our recommendation doesn't start actually that far away. And the song that I want to recommend this week, it's not that old, but it's already long months ago. It's called Sharp Object by Sorn. Sorn, she is actually Thailandese?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She's from Thailand originally, but she had her career in Korea as well. Are you surprised? Not really. I mean, like, are you surprised that Audrey mentions K-pop? Not really. But she did. She had her career starting from like K-pop, and now she's a soloist. I don't really know which label she is in right now. I just know that she is soloist and she kind of like works freelance-ish. Kind of like she works with different producers and whatnot. So the song is called Sharp Object. It's a bit also like poppy, also a bit techy because definitely a lot of synths, a lot of electronic drums, and yeah, also the visual. I haven't sent you the video, Fish, but the visual is also very like, oh yeah, you know, it's 21st century kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Very
Yeah.
modern, almost futuristic.
Yeah, modern, yes. I mean, yeah. That's
Yeah.
that. That's the recommendation for the week. For this episode.
So I strayed out of my classical realm.
Oh yeah, you do. You do.
This week.
This week's recommendation is purely
Yeah, I also want to add, like,
electronic
this is
music.
Yeah, this song also just released recently, like within the last week.
Within the last week, the time that we record this, not the time that we publish this.
Oh yeah, yes.
Timing.
I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah. So, yeah. Check it out. Sorn's
Yes.
song is a bit older. But the thing is, by the time that we record this, Sorn is also coming up with a new single. So,
Oh,
yeah.
fun.
Artists will always release singles. But, yeah. All right. That's it for this episode. Thank you for tuning in and listening to me ramble a lot about theory and teaching stuff. And
You can find the song recommendations on the blog,
yes,
which you can find at www.pianofortepodcast.wordpress.com.
correct. Congratulations. We are getting better at this. Woo. All right. Bye.
Bye.